Welcome to the Buck Stops here, the official podcast of NotInHallOfFame.com, and I'm your host, The Buck. Owner, operator, half alcoholic, half asshole, owner of NotInHallOfFame.com, the fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, and the fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and today I'm pretty excited. I've got a podcast that is literally years in the making. Not necessarily the topic, but the person I'm doing it with. It's our co-owner, Dave Johnson. One of my closest and dearest friends. We're separated by a large body of water as he remains in the heartland of Canada. But my dear friend, we've always sort of we've really talked about basketball for 20 years. 20 years of conversation after conversation, drinking many a beer, talking about many basketball players and their Hall of Fame chances. And now finally he's here doing that on a podcast, and we're calling this one specifically Elevator Up, Elevator Down, looking back at the last season and who really strengthened their Hall of Fame case and who didn't. Quite a few. Sit back, have some fun, and you may just learn something before it's done. Hey, it's Dave Johnson. Dave, it's so good to talk to you, man. We are going to do some shit talking about some NBA players. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Oh, well, I'm definitely ready. Every time we talk, man, it's always shit talking about this player or that player. And we came up with this idea, elevator up or elevator down, for some players. And this is just for the active players and how they did over the last 12 months in relation to their chase for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Probably one of the weirdest sports Hall of Fames, only in that there's no transparency. You don't really know who they're sort of looking at because it encompasses all levels of basketball: men's, women's, pro, college, high school, international, and probably the third league in Croatia. It doesn't really matter what they're looking at. They're looking at everything. And in some ways, it's a little bit messed up. I actually got a conspiracy theory for you, and I want to get your take on this. So a few years ago, they changed the rule just 3 months right before the voting took place, and it pushed the eligibility from 6 years to 5 years, which brought the induction of Shaquille O'Neal 1 year early. So basically, 3 months later, Shaq was inducted, as opposed to when he was going to be inducted 16 months after. Recently, they changed it then from 5 to 3 years. Who's up next?
Who is up next?
Okay, this trio of Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Kobe Bryant. Now, let me throw my conspiracy hat back into full mode here. The Basketball Hall of Fame's under some renovations. Methinks they need some money.
Possibly, yeah. Okay, I'm following you so far.
Why would in the last few years they've done 2 changes to their eligibility requirements: 6 to 5 and then 5 to 3.
And okay, I'm with you on this. My question is, prior to that, when was the last time they changed it?
To my knowledge, never. I'd have to research that, but I don't think it's ever happened before. I think it's always been a fixed 6 years. Now, keep in mind, as I'm saying this, I'm already I drank all my 6-pack and I just cracked open some Mount Gay. So,
okay.
Full disclosure on that one.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the little tinkling you hear in the background. My ice cube's melting at this rapid Caribbean rate here.
Yeah, I've already put back a 6, I think. Yeah, I've already put back a 6.
Heineken, let me guess?
Nope, Stella.
It was going to be one or the other.
Yeah, Stella's my favorite girl. She goes down easy, never complains.
I haven't seen nice. I haven't seen a Stella since I moved here.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I'm sure they exist here, but pretty much everything here, if you're going out, it's the same 6 beers and sometimes just the same one. Banks beer, and then the occasional deputy beer, which is the cheap ass beer down here. Not that Banks is expensive. A couple boutique beers. They'll bring in some Carib from Trinidad, and the only other real import's Heineken.
I think Heineken's like a staple anywhere you go.
Well, especially in a sort of a soccer-obsessed country like this one. But I digress.
Yeah, exactly.
I digress. The elevator that we sort of came up with. Imagine like the best party that you've ever been to. Now magnify it by 10 because we're talking about NBA players here who get to go into this party. And the keeper of the door is Debo. For those of you who don't know who Debo is, watch Friday. And don't watch the part where Ice Cube knocks out Debo because A, that would never happen, and B, just that's my least favorite part of Friday, actually. Come on, like or at least if Debo's going to go down, he's got to get sucker punched or something. Ice Cube, you might be the toughest looking member of NWA, but you're not knocking down Tiny Lister. It's just not happening.
No. I totally agree.
Yeah, so Debo's the one who decides whether you're getting into this party or not. So let's look at some of the players who've had an interesting year. And I want to start off with two players, Dave. Two that we've been shit-talking, sometimes good, sometimes bad, for the last fucking 20 years, maybe. Seems like 20 years. It probably hasn't been that long, but it seems to be getting that way. The first one, and he's just having a real hard time finding a job right now. Your boy, Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo will always have a special place in my heart.
And let's sort of explain why. You're a diehard Knicks fan. Not as diehard as before because you said as long as they've got Mr. Dolan, it's a little hard for you to cheer for Spike Lee's favorite team.
Yeah, they need to get rid of Dolan ASAP.
Yeah,
ASAP. I told you, I've vacated. Like I've given up my seat on the bandwagon. Well, because I was riding shotgun for so long, I've given that up.
And I think you get a pass on this too, Dave, because of that owner. I really do,
Pardon?
And I normally I hate when people jump off a bandwagon, but I think because of ownership, I think you definitely get a pass.
Well, I'd like to think I get a pass, and I think more Knicks fans should have a pass too until he gives up the team.
Mm-hmm.
Force is. I'm going to try and keep this radio friendly.
You don't have to. It's a podcast. You can say whatever you want.
Right. Well, this motherfucker needs to give up the team. He needs to let it go. It's just been downward. They've just been trending downward and downward season after season, and quite frankly, the TSN turning point was that whole fiasco with Charles Oakley. How are you going to treat how are you going to treat Mr. Oakley like that?
No, I totally agree. When he kicked him out there, and he's an iconic Knick too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And if I was any player in the NBA right now, just because of that alone, I would never go there. As long as Buddy's the owner, I would never go. But you know me, I'm all about integrity and stuff like that. Fuck the money. I'm all about standing my ground. That's just the type of dude I am. I mean, and especially if you're an elite player, you can get the money anywhere. So I'll go get the money elsewhere. And I'm not gonna help this guy win a championship. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you and I usually found a way to watch basketball for free now, so we're not really supporting any cable system. But that's another story.
Yeah.
And true to your point, the amount of big name free agents they signed this summer was zero.
And it will continue being like that as long as this cocksucker's running the team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it should be like that. I can't really say because this generation this upcoming generation. Uh, integrity is not part of their vocabulary, and I'll just say that.
But respect is, though.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. So going back to with Carmelo, so he had an awful year. In terms of traditional stats, they weren't that bad. His advanced metrics were piss poor. The Houston took a shot on him, and it didn't work out, and they got immediately better once they gave up on Carmelo, and that's a sad fact. Last year with Oklahoma was not great, sort of the same thing. So there was two contending teams that don't want him anymore. Right now, as it stands, we may have seen the last of Carmelo Anthony in the NBA. I kind of hope that's not true. I think he deserves at least a bit of a farewell in some capacity. But is he a Hall of Famer right now? I'd say yes. His elevator is stalled, but Debo's still going to let him in the door. What do you think?
I think Debo will. Debo's initial reaction would be no, but then he'd take a second glance and be like, "Yo, you're Mellow." yeah. He's like, you're right. Be like, yeah, slide on through.
Well, remember, he's got that one big lazy eye, so he always needs a second look.
Exactly. It would be like, and then as Melo's walking through, he'd be like, "Don't tell anybody I let you in."
See, it's funny because like you're a bigger Carmelo fan than I am. I actually think that with his and going back to like what Basketball Hall of Fame looks at, they look at your college, they look at your international. Carmelo Anthony has been one of the best players in the last 20 years for Team USA.
Exactly.
And he's a champion in his 1 year at Syracuse, which I think is the last. No, that is the last time Syracuse won it. So it's not like this man's. Yeah, he doesn't have an NBA title to his name, but he is a champion. He was at one point a great scorer.
But, and I keep telling you this. I keep bringing this up in every conversation we have. The one time that he played with a true point guard, what happened?
Things went a lot better.
Denver went to the Western Conference Final.
That's right. People forget that. People forget how good that Denver Nuggets team was.
The one time he had a real point guard.
And
he got to the Western Conference Final. He never had one again.
No, he never did. He took a shot. He wanted to go to New York and sort of held Denver at ransom. Having said that, I don't fault somebody for trying to do that. If players in the NBA have more power than almost any of the other big four sports combined, I think, where they're able to sort of do that, and good on them for that. I have no problem with that. Carmelo does get a bad rap because, yes, he tried to make something work in New York, and it really didn't work out.
No.
I mean, he made the playoffs a few times, but realistically, he was never that close to an NBA title or even a final for that matter.
No, not after that, no.
Yeah.
But it's all circumstance. I'm going to ride with my boy for.
Well, I say he's a Hall of Famer right now. I mean, and not only that, I'd say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer once eligible. I really believe that. Whether or not, the only question for me is when is he going to be eligible? Because is a team going to take a shot on him? I don't think they will because no contending team wants to take that chance. The league minimum for a 10-year vet is about $2.6 million or 2.5. Not all of that counts against the cap, but does he bring you back that kind of return? Probably not. He doesn't boost any kind of sales because he's not transcendent like Kobe was. Kobe was shit in his final year. It didn't matter. Everywhere the Lakers went, people were going to follow and watch. And the Lakers treated Kobe with respect, and they knew that by keeping him around, it made their season worse, but it kept them in that classy franchise list that the Knicks are not on. The one team I think, Dave, we haven't talked about this at all. I think if James Dolan wants to sort of like change things around, sign Carmelo to a farewell 1 year contract. What do you have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like the Knicks are doing anything anyway.
You know, the only thing that you're sort of giving up, and that's also why like a weaker team may not want to take a shot on him either, is you want to develop your own guys. Well, okay, New York always develops everything by free agency anyway. Which is true. That's how they think, and they want to keep everything low. They want to like that's what I think should happen. I know I always say, "Hey, go to China," and like I don't mean that as an insult. I mean like you can make some big bucks there, and if you still want to play, go there. But either way, we're both saying elevator stalled, but first ballot Hall of Famer. What do you think?
Yeah, he should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So another one who had a really bad year. Oh, did he have a bad year? I'm Dwight Howard.
Oh, yeah. Nope. As much as you want to say, yeah, I'd say.
You know what though, Dave? I've been thinking about it more and more. You're starting to pull me away from the yes to I don't know. Because yes, we're talking about a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, someone who took Orlando on his back to the finals, and he didn't have much to get there.
Coaching, he had coaching.
Okay, sure, but I mean, like in terms of that team, Orlando wasn't a great team, and he did a lot with them, and also we can say
what was the difference?
Okay, but this is a player that you can say, with all honesty, at one point was the best at his position, and he was. He was the best center in the league for a few years.
Again, going with coaching.
Okay.
Even though, basketball is like far from football or coaching. Like, either you're good or you're not good. Like, you know what I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, and I do, but I mean, like, if someone to me is the best at your position for an extended period of time, I don't care how it happened, that meets a major Hall of Fame criteria for me. However, and I was thinking about this before we started talking, you know how you and I used to say how Donovan McNabb played his way out of the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Okay, which incidentally, and I just saw this on Twitter, one of the actual Hall of Fame voters, said the same thing. And I responded, yeah, I said that 10 years before, asshole. I left out asshole, but... Just wanted to point out I thought that first. Dwight Howard, despite the fact that his stats are actually still very good, even in his 10 games in Washington, they were fine. Even the advanced stats were good. But LA got rid of him, and they were happy for it. Houston got rid of him, and were happy for it. Shitty Atlanta got rid of him, and apparently they threw a party. No, they were actually joyous jubilation in the locker room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until I was looking that up a little bit more today. Like, I didn't realize how much they were happy to get rid of him. Goes to Charlotte, and they were happy to see him go. Washington just jettisoned him off to Memphis, who's going to either try to trade him or just waive him outright. So here's a guy who still can put up decent numbers, although the league has sort of changed. It's not a center-driven league anymore. It's not a big man league. So why does anyone want to take a pass on a guy who doesn't get along with his teammates, apparently, doesn't want to put in the effort to win? Is he now sort of like, did he play his way out of the Hall of Fame? I'm starting to think he did. Or maybe out of the first ballot. Because the bar for the Basketball Hall of Fame isn't that high.
Yeah, he'll get in eventually, but I'm not giving him first ballot. Yeah.
Now, he definitely should go to China, because then he could go to Thailand, and then that way, if he sort of like does sort of like get involved with any one of the ladyboys, you could say, I was confused. Because a lot of them are very passable, unlike the one he sort of was trying. Although I actually don't believe that happened.
Oh, okay. Okay. That that's new. You
Relatively
don't believe
speak,
it?
yeah, and here's sort of why, because like after the person who said came out with that, there was nothing more from that individual. Uh, I don't know. Also, too, there's apparently that individual tried to shade another rapper before with the same thing, and then didn't have any that much to back it up. Whether it's true or not, frankly, I could give a shit. That's sort of irrelevant to the fact that he's apparently a shitty teammate, and nobody
I know.
wants him around.
Is he really? Is he really like what?
Well, I mean, like four
I
teams
mean,
got rid. No, wait, four. Lakers, Houston, five. Sorry, five teams just got rid of him in the last 6 years. They just said, yeah, you know what, you're not worth it.
huh? See, fuck, I didn't even know. Well, actually, I did know all the things that rid of him. I just didn't know about the whole shitty teammate thing.
Yeah, so I think this is what I think that Debo does. I think eventually Debo's going to let him through, but he's going to like put him at a separate table where he's not. He's going to say, "This is the VIP lounge." I'm not going to try and do an impression of Debo because I can't do it. This is the VIP lounge, but it really isn't, and he sort of stuck it with all the high school the high school coaches and the referees section, and he's not allowed. And every time he tries to step out, Debo's going to flash him an eye, like go back in. He's not allowed to hang out with the rest.
I don't think Debo's going to do that. I don't even. I think Debo's just going to say no.
Debo's boss might
Right.
say that this guy gets a pass, but Debo's going to decide where in that big Hall of Fame party he gets to go.
No, Debo's saying no.
All right. Well, last question with Dwight: does he play another NBA game?
That's a tricky one, but I think he does.
You think he's going to get a job before Carmelo?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's our
I
six.
don't think there's any. I don't think there's a conspiracy theory against him. For some reason, there's something going on with Carmelo, which I'm trying to.
No, there's not.
pinpoint.
There's not with Carmelo. It's just he's in this weird position where it's just like I was saying. It's just been proven that he was with two contending teams and couldn't make them better. He made them worse. He's got friends in the NBA. People like him, and it's a player-driven league. It's not like LeBron couldn't go to bat for him and say, "Hey, I want him on my team." Mark Cuban just said that he should be on Team USA. Notice Mark Cuban didn't say, "Hey, maybe I should sign him," because you could.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not that people dislike Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, maybe he was a shitty defensive player. I mean, like he was like what James Harden is now. Harden can't play defense either.
Most players nowadays are shitty defensive players.
Sure.
We're not talking about the 90s.
Yeah,
Most players don't play defense.
Right. Well, it's not sexy.
Now.
Defense isn't sexy. It never has been. It never will be. But
yeah, but like I always tell you, man, just like when my Tampa won the Super Bowl way back when, offense don't stick it, defense wins championships.
Yeah, but football's a little different. You know, the defense, well, not as much as it used to be because they're changing the hitting rules and whatnot, and as they should. But
okay. If you say it's that different, how do you Raptors win?
What do you mean? How did the Raptors win?
How did your Raptors get to the finals and win?
Kawhi. It was a phenomenal two-way player. A lot of great defense.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about talent. I'm just talking about what sort of like makes somebody a transcendent player and sort of like a highlight reel. What Kawhi is going to be remembered for more than anything else on that playoff run was that double banked shot that beat Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you and I are in the same position. We both are pro for that, or like are all about defense wins championships because it does. What I'm just sort of saying is it's not necessarily something that is going to get the highlight reel on SportsCenter. That's where I'm going with that. So a lot of players don't sort of look at that. regardless of the sport. But I digress. So here's our 6-pack bet here. I will wager that Carmelo gets a job before Dwight Howard does.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I will take that bet and I will double it.
A 12-pack. Okay, all right, done. Done. All right. And I should never do this because every time I make sort of an audio bet, I've lost every single one of them.
Actually, almost every time you've made a bet against me, you've lost. But
yeah, thank you for bringing that up here. But yeah, I think my record for you is against you is well, pretty much similar to what the Knicks' record is in general.
oh.
Sorry. Yeah, I went there. Okay, so we got those two out of the way. There's a few players. I just gonna say I think they're already Hall of Famers right now if their career ends today. Just stop me if you think I'm wrong on any of these. All right.
Okay.
All right. LeBron James. Chris.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. Chris Paul. Kevin Durant.
I'm still stuck on Chris Paul. I don't know.
Well, Chris Paul right now, statistically wise, if Tracy McGrady is, then Chris Paul is, because he.
Okay, enough said.
Yeah.
Enough said.
And again, T-Mac, who we've talked about endlessly, but we're not going to go on that here, was a first ballot Hall of Famer, so Chris Paul is right now. Kevin Durant, who actually he's already in there, but I think his elevator went up because as soon as he goes out, everything changed for Golden State. Russell Westbrook, a former MVP, has done enough already, I think.
Okay.
James Harden, I think, is a Hall of Famer right now. Has done enough. Again, remember, the bar is a little bit lower than we're talking about for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Steph Curry. So those and Vince Carter. And I still want to say with Vince Carter, elevator up again, because the fact that this man reinvented himself in the second half of his career is phenomenal. Like, if you and I, when we first started shooting the shit 20 years ago on all this stuff, were to say, if one of us would say to the other, Vince Carter would still be playing, and oh, by the way, he's sort of that locker room leader.
Yeah, I would have laughed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And there's no way that would have happened. But he's doing that farewell tour. Vince Carter will still be playing when Chris Bosh gets inducted into the Hall of Fame next year, if he does, because Chris Bosh is now eligible.
So, yeah.
Think about that for a second. Like how unlikely that scenario is. But it happened, or it's going to happen.
Okay, so I got one for you.
Sure.
Think about this. Imagine, I mean, this is all this is totally hypothetical or like hogwash because the time has passed. But imagine if Vince Carter had the mentality back when he was a Raptor that he does now.
You think I haven't thought of that? Especially before Toronto won the championship. Again, full disclosure for those who aren't aware, I'm a big Raptors fan. So, yeah, you think that didn't cross my mind? Like 1,000 times and then 1,000 more times just in my dreams? Yes. Also,
Are you still mad at him?
No, because Toronto's got a title now.
Okay. Before he got one. I guess I thought I'd throw that in.
Yes. Yeah. Less and less over the passing years, but yeah. But, because it took years for Toronto to recover after Vince forced his way out. And I get why he did it. I wish it would have been sort of like an off-season sort of thing. But, there was a lot of reasons at that time for a Toronto Raptors fan to hate Vince Carter. Having said that, now we're removed from that. The great nation of Canada has produced a lot of great basketball players influenced by Vince Carter. Vince has sort of changed his mindset. And, yeah. As you like to say, I was butthurt for 10 years. Yeah, I was. Damn right I was.
All right.
But he's now a first ballot Hall of Famer. He probably might have been before, again, based on sort of where the bar is. But now, there's no doubt in my mind, and he gets that farewell tour that Carmelo's not going to get. Actually, Vince's stats last year were better than they were 2 years before. And then here's another thing, another bar conversation. If I were to said to you when Vince got traded to New Jersey, yeah, Toronto's going to win a title before Vince does. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, especially on that Jersey team he went to.
Exactly. And, that didn't happen, and Toronto was not a place that people wanted to play. So actually, let's stay with Toronto for like two guys who I think went rocket ship up on the elevator. Kawhi Leonard, I think, I didn't say him as a Hall of Famer right now, but how is he not? He, two-time champion, and he was the star of two different teams winning the title.
And he was MVP. Like playoff MVP or finals MVP.
Finals MVP, yeah, absolutely, as he should have been. Kawhi, I think right now is a Hall of Famer. I would think he should be. I don't begrudge. Here's the one Raptors fan. And I think a lot of Raptors fans would agree with me. I don't begrudge him for sort of going to LA and sort of like again making his call. And apparently it was pretty close between that. I think he was trying to engineer some other stuff to maybe stay in Toronto, but he's an LA guy. And not surprised he picked the Clippers. And I said this to you, that he was going to pick the Clippers over the Lakers, which he did.
Well, I'm pretty sure I agreed with you.
Yep. I just want to give myself a pat on the back because I've just made a bet that I'm going to lose.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll give it to you.
I appreciate it. So, okay, so Kawhi, I think, I can't wait to see how he plays this year. I am very fascinated. The other person I think was a rocket ship this year, the reigning MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hey, remember, nobody who's ever been an MVP who's eligible for the Hall of Fame, nobody has ever not made the Hall of Fame. It's never happened. It might happen, and we'll get there.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's going to happen. I know one person that.
Yeah, and we'll get to that guy. But I mean, you don't think Giannis is sort of like at least gone 3 floors up on the Hall of Fame chase? Debo's lazy eyes looking at him and saying, "Okay, you might come in."
You know what? I still don't believe the hype on this guy.
Really?
I'm still not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know what?
And you saw him live a couple times this year, no?
Yeah. I think, you know what? Ask me this question next year because I really want to see what this season brings.
Wow, I'm shocked. I just want to think I know you so well.
I want to see what this upcoming season brings because I'm not sold.
Okay, I'm stunned. Okay, well, I guess that's a bit of a disagreement here. Okay, a few. Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
That jumper is kind of non-existent. Well, it's not that it's non-existent. Wow.
Okay.
It's not where it needs to be.
All right. Well, here's another guy I have as a major elevator up. Paul George, who became the best player in his team at OKC. Didn't do much in the playoffs, but he did get his first team All-Pro. Was an MVP candidate. I believe finished third in voting. And again, based on where the bar is, I think Paul George had a 2 elevator floor up. What do you think?
I'm going to give. It was his. I'm not going to say it was a comeback year because before that injury,
Mm-hmm.
in Indy.
Mm-hmm.
He was sick. Like the, the, the dude was sick before the injury. I'm. It took a season for him to come back to his form, but I'm not overly surprised.
Yeah, but this was his best year ever.
Yeah, but he was a star on the rise before the injury.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like he was before that injury, yeah. And it was a gruesome injury at that.
Oh my! You know what? I haven't been able to watch it. I've never seen it.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, it was brutal.
I know it was, but I haven't been able to make myself watch it.
Yeah, but for him to come back the way he did,
mm-hmm.
You know, 2 thumbs up, man.
Yeah. Here's a player I want to get your take on. Nobody talks about him for the Hall of Fame, but if you compare him to sort of that lower tier Hall of Famers in Springfield, LaMarcus Aldridge, 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, never been a first team.
Mm-hmm.
Does he sort of squeak in down the road? Or does he need a lot more?
I think he might need more.
Mm-hmm. So you know who I think takes an elevator down, like a level down, actually maybe 2 level down, even though he didn't have a bad year, is DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, because the narrative, right? I mean, it's a great player, but and they should, Toronto should give him an NBA ring because it was that trade that sort of engineered everything to sort of make that happen. DeRozan staying there sort of made Toronto a team more attractive, for free agents because you got to sort of like play harder because of the dollar and shit like that. But it's true, you do.
Yeah.
And he loved playing there. He wanted to stay there. But this year proved where he is in the pecking order, which is that 10 to 15 spot.
Well, I don't. Come on. Yeah, he does get it. I've never well, you know where I stand. I never really seen the hype with DeMar.
Well, first 3 years, there shouldn't have been. Because he let in as many points as he scored.
Yeah, I've never been... not to say that... I've never believed he was a star. He wouldn't be my... I'm making a team. He's not my franchise, dude. He's the Robin to, somebody else's Batman.
You know who he is to me? And I guess thinking as a Raptor fan, he's an unlucky Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh could very well be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he'll point to all his All-Stars. Yet he was only a third-team NBA All-NBA player once. Never a first team, never a second team.
Really?
Yeah. So, Bosh was a 10 to, and again, I'll just use that 10 to 15. He was a 10 to 15 guy pretty much all his elite career. And that's fine. That's awesome, and he found the perfect role in Miami to win 2 rings that he would not have won in Toronto because he wasn't good enough to lead that team to a title. Which is why sometimes I go back on Dwight Howard because he actually took an average team to the finals. Just doing that, mad respect. But again, enough about Dwight Howard and Lady Boys and whatever. So my show, I can say whatever I want.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So DeRozan for me, just because even though he went to another, just the narrative changes, and sometimes more than other sports, the narrative does matter. In terms of the Hall of Fame, I think DeRozan, because Toronto won, and we're better without him.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me better now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it hurts him. What do you think?
I'm agreeing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm agreeing with that one. I'm on board.
One guy I want your take on here that I thought I was actually there was two people I was super happy when the All NBA teams came out. And here's the first one. Blake Griffin was a third-team All NBA, first time in a long time. And so he proved he still got that. Not getting nearly as much attention in Detroit because they're an average team, but Griffin still got a lot of stuff. I mean, so 3-time second team. This was his second third team, and he's on that bubble, getting that extra. That was his first also his first All-Star appearance in a few years. Granted, it was in the East. I think the East-West balance is going to change more this year, but I think Griffin took an elevator, a floor up. What do you think?
No. I'd say I agree. I mean, part of me wanted to throw some darts, in regards to the whole little girl thing or whatever, but
throw them.
No,
throw them as many as you want.
But
we're talking Chris Humphries. You think I wouldn't?
Yeah. He had a bounce back season.
Yeah, I think he really did. And, it's one of those things that you've got to sort of do in that second half if you're sort of a bubble guy. One guy that I sort of wanted to see that this year, only because I have a love-hate thing with him. And oh my God, how many beers have we talked about this guy about? Rondo. When Rondo was that, people forget, when Boston won that title and they said, oh, the big three did it. Rondo was outshining those other three for a lot of that series.
Yep.
And pardon everyone here, I'm pouring some more rum here. So, but Rondo didn't have much of a year with LA. Just didn't quite work out. What do you think? It's he's still in the league. He still can do those flashes of brilliance, but I think that window's closing. He just didn't do enough.
I think Debo would let him in.
What? Really?
Debo will let him in. He needs to. I like Rondo's game.
Yeah.
I do. I like his game. I still like his game. It's just the way that the league's set up right now. Rondo could potentially be a sixth man of the year.
That's what he should have been this year, maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he needs that bounce back year to have a really good shot.
Yeah, I think he's got one. I think he's got 1 or 2 more years in the tank to pull it off.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about him. Okay, so but his elevator is sort of stalled. I don't know. He needed it to go up, and it really didn't.
No. Okay. Yeah. I go. Okay. When you put it like that, okay, I agree with you.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, I like Rondo. I mean, you and I were saying the same thing, that he wasn't getting enough love when Boston won that title.
No.
And he should have. He really should have gotten more. A few other names I want to bounce off here. I said there was like two people I was really happy when they got an All NBA. The second guy was, and he's not really worth talking because he's not there yet. But this one, we've actually never talked this player before. I'm a huge fan of Kemba Walker. I think for him, everything depends on this year. Now he's a Celtic. He's got some better players around him. This year has to be very, very critical going forward for him to sort of like make any kind of Springfield push. What do you think?
And I totally agree. This is this Boston run is going to make or break him.
And it's not going to be easy because I mean he's not necessarily inheriting sort of like the best thing around him, but you know there. Oh, so that's sort of like.
What I like about that? You know what I like about this Boston team, though?
You know what's that?
They can play as a team. Like no one particular person needs to take. Like if they implement a good system and they play within the system, they should be able to do some big things.
Boston should have done so much more this year with what they or last year, I guess, with what they had.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, if they go back to the Boston of not last season, the season prior, with that piece to the puzzle, I think they can do something.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. Of course, now Kyrie going with Brooklyn. So he's someone. So I think that's another elevator stall.
Don't worry about Kyrie. Kyrie will be all right, man.
Okay, all right. So I will say this. I hate the character Uncle Drew. I hate it. I hate it. Really? I hate it. Yes, I do.
Oh, man. I like it, kind of. It almost takes me back to the Little Penny days, or when LeBron first came in the league and he was doing those Nike commercials with like different versions of himself.
I like Little Penny. I hated Grandmama.
Dude.
Okay,
you don't call him long distance and hang up on you.
How can you? He was wearing an old woman dress with the pillbox hat. Come on. How the hell do you like that?
Because it's LJ. LJ can be my world.
Oh my god, I hated it. I hated it. And he even like jammed with Urkel. I hated everything about. I love Larry Johnson, the player. Hate Grandmama.
LJ does no wrong in my world.
Yeah, of course. At the same time, I mean, what was I going to do? Like, I just go up to him when he's dressed like that and say, "Yeah, I think you look like a fruit." Obviously, I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's not really much you can say.
I suppose. I don't know. There's just something about. I never got the gimmick. I don't get it. I must be. There's something I just don't understand.
I didn't really even look at all. I didn't even really, I don't know. I was just like, yo, it's LJ. Whatever LJ says, like, I don't know.
All right.
I'm not really much of a yes man, but in that instance, I was a yes man.
Okay. Right, fair enough. Because that was your number 2 team for a while, the Hornets, with that LJ team.
Right. They were, yeah, for the longest time. Like, I think I even used them. I used to use them. I'm going to age myself a bit. But I think it was Tecmo. Yeah. It was Tecmo. It wasn't Tecmo Bowl because I was football, but Tecmo had like a basketball game back in the day that I'd play on Super Nintendo. And I always used the Hornets.
There's a lot of people who forget just like how much excitement that LJ-led team had for About a year and a half. It's like maybe they were
Yeah.
poised to win the East.
Mhm.
And they were. I mean, it seems like a lifetime
Well,
ago because it was, but.
well, here's the thing though. Like, remember he fucked up his back, and he was never the same dude. And then
Right.
he signed some, or like he got traded. Did he get traded, or he signed some contract with New York? And I was like mad and happy all at the same time because now we have like one of my favorite players coming to my favorite team, but he's not the same player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I mean, with that being said, he hit that shot against Indiana. That like miracle 4-point play at the end of the game to beat them.
There are times I just watch YouTube highlights of like 90s and teens or zeros, just highlights of old shit like that. Can't, yeah, well, it's because we're getting old, man. We're both in our 40s. Like, what the hell happened?
I don't know. Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and just putting this in perspective, we're doing this on a Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly.
That in itself says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's my one that I really want to talk to you about. Of course, there's so many, but after the Raptors won, there was a few articles that came out, and then people were responding, laughing, like, "Oh, what are you talking about? How is he like a Hall of Famer?" And that's Kyle Lowry, 5-time All-Star, now an NBA champion. Probably could have been a more-time All-Star because John Wall took some that probably should have went to Lowry. To be perfectly blunt, like that's honestly what I think.
It's All-Star thing.
Oh, sorry, no, he is a 5-time All-Star. Yeah.
Okay, whoa. The All-Star thing, you know where I stand with that.
Sure. Me too. I'm the same, but
holds no weight.
No, it holds some weight
because it's a popularity contest.
Well, no. Only if you're a starter.
Well, that's what I mean.
Lowry's never been a starter.
Okay, true. True.
For me, and you know how I feel about that because I had that Chris Bosh conversation with you like years ago. Bosh, multi-time All-Star, only been an All-NBA player once. And that was a third team, like when he was a Raptor. Granted, I'd never held anything against him when he was with Miami because he wasn't. He understood his role and did it well. I know Shaka said that it wasn't the big three; it was the big 2.5 for a long time. Like, Jesus Christ!
I love Shaq.
Oh, so do I. Political commentary or sports commentary for all those listening. That's why I love basketball more than sometimes the other three combined, because they'll say whatever the fuck is on their mind, even the commentators. Whereas everyone in the other sports, hockey, I'm looking at you specifically, you bore the shit out of me. I've partied with NHL players. They are awesome. You put a camera in front of them. There's there's no iron team. Hey, like, what the hell happened? I don't know what they're teaching in the juniors, but it's how to be a dullard. Basketball players don't give a fuck, and I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Goes back to the whole integrity thing that I've been saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to be you at the end of the day. You got to be like.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's
you got to be.
It's so true. But when people were shitting and saying, "Oh, Lowry's not even close," I don't think that he's a Hall of Famer yet, and he probably won't be because he's a little older. It took him a little longer to sort of get onto that streak, but I think he took an elevator up at least 2 floors. He's not as far away as a lot of people make him out to be. And he also exercised a lot of those playoff demons. He had a good playoff.
Yes, he did.
And I'm not saying this as a Raptor fan. I know I'm trying not to come off as a homer here, and hopefully I'm not. But I'm trying not to, man. I'm really trying not to. But I don't think he's that far, as far away from the conversation as a lot of people want to make him out to be.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
Um, I'm gonna say he should get in just because.
Really? Like right now? Because I think he still needs some more.
Well, not as of right now, but like, I think at the end of the day, though, he should like. When you compare it to some of the Yahoos that are in right now.
True. Yep.
Right. I mean, at least he has a championship.
Mm-hmm.
He has I mean, a lot of people are gonna say that Kawhi brought them that championship,
and he did. But it doesn't happen without him too.
Exactly. And I mean, and here's the other thing too, like what people give him credit for. He does a lot of the work that doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
So true. So true.
He does, like the shit that don't show up. Like he's the one that's doing that shit. And you got to give. I mean,
yeah. When he's 50 years old and he's got that back brace because of all the fouls he took.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I mean, okay. I guess I shouldn't really make the comparison because it's really not much of a comparison, but I'm going to make it anyway. Rodman is in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So if Rodman's there, Carl should be there. And now you're going to say, or whoever might want to say that, oh, that's not a fair comparison. Blah, blah, blah. When Rodman won his championships, who did he win those rings with?
Mm-hmm. A lot of help.
A lot of help. Mm-hmm. Like, right? Three of those rings was with Jordan. Enough said. Other two of those rings are with the Bad Boys. Again, enough said.
Right. And Rodman, people forget, Rodman got a lot of criticism, or not a lot, but I mean, some criticism that he was so focused on rebounds that he might let the other part of the game sort of slide.
Yeah.
But and but you're right. I mean, like taking all that other stuff, taking that. Lowry, I think, is a sort of such an underrated defensive player. I really think that, but I think he's sort of done that. There's a few guys that I really want your take on here. We talked earlier about former MVPs and that no MVP ever who's been eligible has ever not gotten into the Hall of Fame. We've talked about this guy forever, and he had a bounce back year, and I'm so happy for him. And that's Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Like
but does he deserve to get in?
At this point, no. But if he's got another 6'5", yeah. But his elevator was plummeting so much so that Debo cut the cord. And he had that year, and what was it? Didn't he have? He had that 50-point game, and just everyone was so happy for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we know that you're not going to be Derrick Rose of MVP era, Bulls era. You're not that guy anymore. But if he can sort of have like a Grant Hill back nine, can he play his way back in? I'm like, maybe.
I would be really
sure. Yeah, but I mean, Derrick Rose. I mean, how much I said like this is going to be the first guy to ever win the MVP,
Yeah.
and I said it over and over in so many conversations, and I meant it every time I said it. And this year, I mean, like things things changed. He's healthier. I'm cheering for him so hard. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I have any reason to, or even think that he's a good guy or bad guy. I'm just I just want him to. I don't want him to have that fucking yoke on his neck of being the only MVP, not to be a Hall of Famer. I don't want it for him.
Well, since earlier you were talking about conspiracy theories, I don't know. They might just put him in just because.
Just for that reason? It could. They could,
Hey,
but if he plays another 5-6 years, pads some stats, sets up like a 15 point per game average, that's not bad.
He's got that much? You honestly think he's got that much left in the tank?
I thought he was done out of the. 3 years ago, I would have said he's out of the league now. I really would have. So I mean, I want him to prove that wrong. I'm cheering for him. I don't know why I've got a soft spot for the Timberwolves. Maybe because the fan base always supported them, even though they had no reason to. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a soft spot for D Rose. I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I mean, like, we're doing our flip flop here that we sometimes do, but I'm hoping that sort of like he has another couple years, just like he did, because he's not going to be an all-star again, probably not. But if he can sort of like keep up what he's doing for another 5 years, it might all even out for him. For the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he's got 5 more years left.
Well, I would have said the same about Grant Hill.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, and clearly I am, I don't think he does either, but I'd like to see it happen. Selfishly, I'd like to see it happen.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, and again, it's not like if he retires tomorrow, I'm gonna like cry. I'm not, but I don't know. There's just something about this guy. I'm sort of hoping that he sort of does well. I mentioned John Wall before. I think the guy's super overrated. I know he's got the 5 All-Stars, and that's a big metric that sort of helps. What does he need to do to get into the Hall of Fame? Because I think he's further away than he was 3 years ago.
Play?
Yeah, play. Well, he's hurt. He's hurt. Apparently,
that's what I mean.
Apparently, it was his idea to bring in Dwight Howard. That was pretty smart, huh?
Yeah, he needs to, like, I don't know, him to get in.
Here's another guy who needs a big year, I think, coming off injury. Kevin Love. He's not a Hall of Famer now, in my opinion. But to me, he's white Chris Bosh.
With better numbers?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, yeah. In some ways, no.
Whoa. Remember, he put up some monster numbers when he's in Minnesota.
Sure, but I mean, like, if everything's sort of going to you, he's going to do that. But that's sort of the same thing with him, with Bosh in Toronto. Just Bosh got more All-Stars, though Kevin Love was playing in the West.
Yeah. Right, and who's at that exact same position? Dumb kid.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, I think Love, he's not there, but it depends what he does with Cleveland this year, which is tough because you're not going to do anything with Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, fuck, he's still there, isn't he?
Yeah, no, yeah, he's still there. I mean, it's easy to forget that he wasn't there, or that he's still there because he didn't play much. He was hurt last year, so he sat out most of the year. He'll be back, but I don't know. I mean, Kevin Love is. A lot of people think Chris Bosh is such this lock, and to me, he's not. But no, I don't think he is. He should be. I really don't.
Right. Okay, so what's my love? Every time I think of this guy, I think of the monster years in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not Cleveland, the monster years in Minnesota.
Yeah, as a T-Wolf, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those monster games were against my Knicks. Like 51 points and something like 20 something rebounds or some bullshit like that. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like everybody has new monster game against the Knicks, though.
Well, especially lately.
No. Even if you look back in history, it's just, people want to like raise the bar when they're playing in the Garden. Jordan, Miller.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, that's just. I think Ray Allen. Like, who else is it? Well, actually, the list could go on and on. I think like every star from every team in the league has made it a point to have at least one monster game in the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but thinking about Love now, I would say I think I'm going to agree with you and give it some time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I don't have a couple. I just have a couple more, and then we'll.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that unfolds because
yeah, for sure.
He's in Cleveland, so nothing good could come out of that. Nothing good.
After spending a month in Cleveland, I agree. Nothing good comes out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
My God.
And after that month that you stayed there and you discussed with me about, I'm not a big fan of Cleveland at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of, or I'll just say Ohio in general. Not a fan.
I've never. I'll say this out loud. I don't care. I've never seen more racism in my life than the month I had to spend in Cleveland.
Yeah. See.
Like nothing even remotely close. And yeah.
Right, and you spent time in the South.
I spent a lot of time in the South.
What?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the South. In the American South,
like
yeah.
You've been to the Carolinas and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah, mm-hmm.
So that's saying a lot. You even traveled out to like Boston.
Boston's not great either. Granted, though, in Cleveland, though, just putting it in perspective, Cleveland is where I spent like a full month because I had to for a job that didn't work out. But hey, look what I'm doing now. So it's all worked out here. So there you go. But yeah, my God, was that an awful place. An
You
awful,
know what's
awful
messed up?
place.
I had a job. I had a job, and a lot of my head office people were from Cleveland. And from what you told me,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted nothing to do with them. Like nothing, nothing. Like they talked to me like, I, well, you know how I am, and I really shouldn't
Yeah,
be
but
like that.
you can't paint them all that way. I'm just going by my experience, of course.
Yeah, like I was just like wanting nothing at all to do with them. Like, yeah, it was just like, I, I, I wasn't, I was really wary of them. That's the best way of putting
Yeah,
it.
no, and yeah, it was screw it. It's our show. I can tell this story. Let's tell it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the month I spent in Cleveland was for one job that thankfully didn't work out. Actually, in retrospect, and the factory, I won't go with the company who it was in a predominantly black part of town. And as we're sort of like going there, all the people who were sort of like going to possibly work for this company. So two stories I'll tell. One being, being sort of like when I asked like how come all the factory workers here are white, and when you're in an all black area, and I was told, well, sometimes we'll let them sweep the floor. Second one being, which bothered me actually 10 times worse, where, man, this one still bothers me so much. Because I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it. No, just from going from Toronto to Cleveland, it's not even a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
not
true.
even 5 hours. And so, like, it was a bunch of prospective salespeople. Uh, as I look back, so like one Canadian, myself, and then 5 other Americans, all white, but it's just, and so I'm so dumb. I didn't even think of it at the time. Like that was sort of that. And but five of us, myself included, were attached. Be it married, engaged. I was engaged at the time, and we were trying to get the one single guy laid. Again, my show, I can say that we're trying to get one guy laid. Of course, he got so fucking shit faced, or as you like to say, white boy drunk.
White boy wasted.
White boy wasted, yeah. So white boy wasted, man, that it was not even possible. And not that I think that I'm a good-looking guy, but compared to this guy, I was fucking Brad Pitt. So like he needed like all the help he could get, and I think he might have pissed himself on the dance floor. I don't even know. Anyways, so we're a bunch of early 30 somethings going out with these early 20 somethings that we met at a steakhouse. Again, with the whole point of getting this guy laid. And one of the servers said to me that how they described, and I said, I'm a Canadian. And man, I remember telling you the story. You were at my place. Jesus Christ. It still bothers me talking about this to this day. How they called black people Canadians so that way they didn't have to say the N word because they didn't want to serve them. And again, these girls were. Is this what I'm trying to set the right year? What year would that have been? 2004, 2005, something like that?
No, later than that. Closer like 2000 and I would say 2009.
I wasn't married yet, and I'm almost hitting. Well, 2007 doesn't matter. I mean, if I'm off by a year, does it really matter?
No.
Yeah. So I mean, like the late zeros, and just seeing these girls, and they didn't look like rednecks either, and that's sort of what threw me off more than anything. It's not like we're talking about some white girls with mullets and Confederate flags on them on a jean jacket. they didn't look like I would have thought racist shit would have come out. And since that time, it's hard for me to cheer for Cleveland on anything.
Right? And this is why I don't understand. Yeah, like, exactly. Like, I find it hard ever since that, like, I can't cheer for.
And it's hard because, but then at the same time, then if I paint them all with the same brush, then I'm being racist too. So, I don't know. Hey, but then again, hey, that's why you have Trump as a president. Right there. Man, this sports conversation took a dark turn.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get back to, like, positive stuff.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. All right, here's my most fascinating one. Somebody I love to watch, but I don't at the same time. To me, he's the more talented Ricky Davis, and again, I'm aging myself. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah.
Because he called his shot. He said like I want to get out of here. He's on his way. He's still under 30. He can do a lot of stuff, but I don't know. I don't know where he is in this. In terms of the Hall of Fame elevator, what do you think?
In his case, like, his story's still being written, so we gotta just, like, wait and see. I honestly don't think he's doing anything in Miami. I think it's going to be more of a bust than anything else. But if it's not, and he has, like, he has a Harden type season, I will be pleasantly surprised because I'm kind of rooting for the kid.
I am too, and he's one of those guys where I can see why people don't like him, but I do. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody comes up to me and says, I hate Jimmy Butler, like, okay, I get it. There's just something about him that's dislikable. Yet there's this sort of playful...
Well, he's a grown-ass man and he goes by the name Jimmy for starters.
Well, there's that, yeah. Yeah. Jimmy got soul. I just believe in him. I don't know why I do, but I really do. I believe in him because he's said it over and over how much he believes in himself. I'm buying in.
Right.
I'm buying in for at least the next 2 seasons.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, and Toronto doesn't have that same thing. Boston's in flux. Brooklyn's a year away. All right, Jimmy, let's see what you can do.
Well, the East is up for grabs.
Yeah, exactly. I think going forward, this is a massive year for Jimmy Butler to sort of like say, I'm a Hall of Fame guy, because he's not now, but he could be.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think he has the tools.
Mm-hmm.
He has the tools, and then I like the attitude personally. I like the attitude. I like the way that he talks shit to like everybody.
Exactly. I don't care what you say as long as you back it up. You stop backing it up, then okay, now you got a problem. Like that you've put yourself in that position. Okay, let's see what you got.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will. You know me. I'm all about the shit talking.
No, not you.
I'm all about the shit talking.
All right, I get 2 more guys here for you before we sort of like call it a day. And they're brothers, the Gasol brothers.
I think they do it.
Pau Gasol is probably a Hall of Famer now. And again, we have to remind people the international stuff does count. Also Pau Gasol, but a lot of people may not even realize he's a six-time All-Star. That's a lot.
It's not enough for his wife to stick around.
Yeah. And, yeah. I love it.
Oh, sorry.
No, God, don't be sorry.
Sorry.
Never be sorry. Then we got Marc Gasol, who kind of indirectly took an elevator up because he was part of the NBA championship. He's got that title now. I don't know. He's not at Pau's level. How could he be? But it sure as hell doesn't hurt.
I think they might do it just for like the first like brother duo.
If I go back to my conspiracy theory, whatever they think is going to sell tickets, right?
Exactly.
I don't know that a lot of people are coming in from Spain, though.
Good call.
Yeah. All right, who am I missing here, Dave? Is there anyone here that I should have talked about that is left? I don't think so, eh?
Oh, I think we covered. Wait. I think you covered it all. So how do you think your Raptors are doing
for next year? Number 5 seed and be lucky to get to the second round.
Yeah, I think I might have to agree with you because realistically, who is their star?
Well, it depends. It depends on how much Siakam sort of can build on his most improved Player of the Year award, but
it's not happening, dude. Like,
no, I don't think so either.
It's not happening.
I don't either. Also losing Danny Green doesn't help them either. But no, I mean they're still a playoff team. Whether they go deep, I don't think they can go deep, but
they're in the East, so they could be a playoff team still. Right?
No, they're definitely going to win the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to. If they get to the second round, I'll be really happy.
I don't know if they're definitely in the playoffs. I mean, yes, they're in the East, but I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a given they're in the playoffs, dude.
Okay, there's my double or nothing on the 12. On the 12 beers, they're in the playoffs.
I'm just trying to figure out who could beat them out.
All right, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, because I like what Brooklyn's doing right now. New York's below them, Cleveland's below them, Detroit's the same.
I don't know if Cleveland's below them.
Cleveland's below them.
I think them and Cleveland are on the same level.
Cleveland's below them.
Okay.
Charlotte's below them. Miami is treading water. Atlanta's below them. Washington is a mess. Yeah, in the East, yeah, they're fine. To make the playoffs, absolutely. Chicago still sucks.
Okay. Chicago and the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks, I haven't even talked about them yet. So Philly's over them, I think. Boston, we don't know what Boston's going to be, but let's just say Boston's over them. So Philly, Boston, Brooklyn.
Milwaukee. Indiana.
Oladipo's back, yeah. It still puts them at number 6. Even if I say Miami's over them, that's number 7.
Yeah, I think Miami's over them too.
All right, so it's 7. That's playoffs.
Miami's over them.
And I'm being super negative here, saying all this stuff.
Washington.
Washington's not. No, Washington's doing shit.
Who's scoring for them?
Washington's going to have the 12-month Dwight Howard blues.
Okay. Forget that, though. Who's scoring for Toronto?
Siakam and Lowry.
That's your 1-2 punch.
Okay, it's enough to get in the playoffs in the East. We're saying playoffs in the East.
I don't know.
Okay, there's our second 12-year bet.
That's a hard no for me.
Second 12-year bet.
That's not a strong enough 1-2 punch.
Okay, so then there's our bet.
Yeah, okay.
All right, done. All right, I've been drinking a lot. What was our first bet?
It was a 12 for something. Dwight Howard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dwight Howard. Okay. Oh shit, I got Carmelo to sort of get signed first, don't I? I have Carmelo to get signed first, and you have Dwight Howard to get signed first.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's the worst bet ever.
On your part.
Yeah, on my part. So what difference does it make on any of our bets? We always drink it all together anyway.
It's true.
It's just a matter of who's paying for it. All right, any parting shots here?
I'm still stuck on your 1-2 combo.
Oh, okay, no, we're talking Hall of Fame shit. I made my bet here.
Okay, like I'm still stuck on that. You want to like that's a horrible 1-2 punch. Just saying.
I don't disagree. I just know it's good enough to make the playoffs in the East.
That's like a Pee Wee Herman 1-2 punch.
Good enough to make the playoffs in the East, and good enough to make me 12 beers. There we go.
No.
Well, there we go. It's written in the stars now.
No.
All right, we'll find out. We'll find out.
1-2 punch.
All right. Well, this ends the buck stop. At what? Go ahead.
Last comment of the night as I sit and I'm watching this video.
What video are you watching? I'm scared already.
Do you think LeBron was ever like friends? Okay, he seemed to be like the most chill and cool when he was Miami than any other place.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a good like camaraderie or whatever that fucking word is with his Heat teammates.
All right.
I'm just asking you. Do you think there's something to that? Like I'm watching a video of him like dancing around with them.
Oh, do I think he had better camaraderie as a member of the Heat than anywhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because he put that together with Dwayne, Chris. He had a whole plan there for that. After everything sort of like changed, and let's just say when we change, Dwayne and Chris Bosh just not remaining at the same level that he is. Yeah, totally. LeBron James to me is in a lot of ways a very modern Kobe. He wants to win at all costs. Right now, I don't know that LeBron. See, to me, I can't wait to see how LeBron and Anthony Davis get along, because LeBron, for the first time in his life, is not the best player on his team. Anthony Davis is. What's going to happen with that? And I think a big part of that is why Kyrie wanted to leave. Kyrie wasn't the best player then. He's a better player now, but he wasn't then. Is LeBron, Anthony Davis, for me, that's the most interesting thing going into the season, more than anything else. If LeBron is as smart as I think he is, Lakers are going to be great. Because LeBron is no dummy.
Yeah, I think the Lakers are going to be. I think the Lakers are going to be okay. I think the Lakers are going to be okay. I think LeBron might actually average a triple double this year.
He could. He could. I don't know, man. It's so. Sometimes people forget just how long LeBron's been doing this, and just think about this. I mean, yeah, he was the youngest man in that elite class. It was him, Bosh, Wade, and Anthony.
Carmelo.
Yeah, Carmelo. Okay. So Carmelo may not play again. Bosh is done. Wade's done. How much mileage is left on that? And it wasn't all that long ago where we all watched Kobe play elite, and then he got hurt, and then that was it.
Well, I mean, LeBron's got a totally different game, though.
Yeah, sure, but I don't know. It just feels like he's a ticking time bomb, waiting to implode in terms of talent.
You think so?
I do. I think he's got so much left, and at some point they'll be like Kobe. It's just like the body's going to give out. We'll see. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I drink a lot. What do I know?
Yeah, you are wrong a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No
Glad
problem.
this is recorded.
Nope. No problem, dude. That's why I'm here for.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, so we'll be doing this again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Right. It's about time we got this out the way.
Damn right. All right, love you, brother. Take care.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, bye.
All right, night.